Like it or not, Christmas is here again. And in a year when things have felt pretty unjolly and also non-merry, I was excited to start experiencing a little Christmas magic again. As an adult, I've really struggled to savor the holiday season. It's like Ferris Bueller said, the world moves fast, and if you don't look at it, you won't see what's going on. And for me, the best way to experience Christmas in its fullest isn't spending time with loved ones or friends or doing good for my community. It's sitting my white ass down and watching Fred Claus, baby. Let's go! Vince Vaughn mumbling about Christmas? Yes please. Paul Giamatti as Santa Claus? You're joking me! Rachel Weisz from The Mummy? I love that movie! On paper, Fred Claus is everything you want a Christmas movie to be. It follows Fred, Santa's overshadowed older brother, who's down on his luck and trying to get a bunch of money so that he can open a horse betting parlor. Is that really?
This empty space that we're standing in right now, in 3 months' time, will be the most trafficked OTB in the entire city.
But the movie doesn't start there, because first we have to see Fred's origin story. How many years ago he loved his younger brother Santa Claus, but that love soon faded when Santa began constantly one-upping Fred and being toxically kind. There's a scene where Fred literally gives Santa a gift, and then Santa re-gifts it in front of him.
Happy birthday. I thank you, Frederick.
Nicholas, where are you going?
There's a poor orphan named Henry who lives down the road. I'm bringing all my gifts to him.
Then, at another point, Fred is climbing a tree and Santa cuts the tree down to bring it inside for Christmas. At a certain point, you start to wonder if the kindness is a ruse. Maybe Santa's just trying to kill Fred or drive him insane or something. At the end of this opening sequence, we find out that there are a couple rules that govern Santa's life. The main one is that when he became a saint, he became immortal.
Now, it's a little known rule of sainthood, but when you become a saint, you freeze in time.
So a few things. Number one, in this movie, Christian God is real. Christianity is real in this movie. I mean, it's a Christmas movie, so yeah, sure, whatever. But most Christmas movies don't explicitly tell you that. But in this one, that's a baseline fact about the world. They're like, you know, there's a lot of pain and suffering in this messed up world, but God can't solve all that because he's using all of his power to keep Paul Giamatti and Vince Vaughn alive forever. Because, yeah, sorry, the saint's family also gets frozen in time.
The rule applies to the family of the saint and spouses as well.
So that's how we get to the present day, 2007, and we see that Fred is now a repo man.
Ow!
You can't take my television.
Are you nuts?
Ha ha ha, very clever. He's sort of the anti-Santa Claus because he takes stuff away from families at Christmas. Now that is a pretty fun idea. Except we already have an anti-Santa Claus that takes stuff away from families at Christmas, and his name is Grinch. And you better start respecting him, all right? Because last I checked, I couldn't go to Universal Studios and have a semi-sexually charged interaction with Fred Claus. But being a repo man is just Fred's day job. And secretly, he has a deep passion for taking money from gambling addicts.
So every day when the market closes and the day traders hit the streets, this is where they're gonna come.
I really can't believe that's his whole deal. That's his whole motivation. Rachel Weisz plays his girlfriend, and she is a cop in this movie. But in Chicago. Chicago mentioned, baby. Windy City, city of broad shoulders. Go bear down. Go Bears. Also, I just want to pause here and say that, you know, that opening scene happened in like medieval times, and Fred has been alive for like 500 years since then, doing God knows what. And he's landed on running a gambling business as his calling. I think Fred is evil. I think this guy is actually evil. God's real in this movie, so maybe Fred is the devil.
I try and have a conversation with you about our moving in together, and then you just disappear.
Ultimately, Rachel Weisz is mad at Fred Claus because they were planning on moving in together, and then he flaked on that, and then he also forgot her birthday.
And then it is my birthday.
That?
Oh, no.
I know that. Birthday thing, that I know.
Almost as though the movie could sense that I was beginning to think Fred was a bad guy. They introduce his one redeeming quality. He's a father figure to an orphan.
I'm in for him.
And I can't lie to you, it sort of feels like this kid, whose name is Slam, by the way.
Can't count on anyone, Slam.
Awesome name, honestly. But he's sort of just like a sounding board for Vince Vaughn's emotional problems.
Slam, have you ever really thought about Santa Claus? Guys in a big red suit flying around in reindeer because he craves the spotlight. He's a fame junkie. The guy's a clown.
They don't develop his character very much at all. He's kind of just like the kid that Vince Vaughn trauma dumps to. So Fred needs $50,000 to rent space for his casino in downtown Chicago.
You got to come up with the full $50,000 by the 20th.
But he doesn't have $50,000 because over his 500 years of being alive, I guess he totally forgot that he could have parked $10 in the stock market 100 years ago and been a billionaire by now. So Fred is forced to call his estranged brother, Santa Claus, who I guess has money. I don't think Santa would have money. That's not part of his lore. What does he need money for? He lives in the North Pole and is magic, actually. Wait. And Santa is played by none other than the wickedly talented Paul Giamatti. And it makes perfect sense to me that Paul Giamatti is in this movie because he's like kind of a Christmas guy, you know? It's like in The Holdovers. Ah, The Holdovers. The 2023 Christmas classic where a young man grappling with his place in the world, trapped at his boarding school over the winter holiday, learns the true meaning of Christmas and friendship through the relationships he forms with his curmudgeonly history professor and the school's grieving chef. No, sorry, this isn't about The Holdovers. Two different movies. Sorry. Anyway, Professor Paul Hunnam from The Holdover... Santa makes Fred come up to the North Pole and work for him to earn the $50,000.
But if you want the rest of this, then you're just gonna have to come up here.
Now, one thing I do want to give this movie credit for is I think it kind of nails the strained brotherly dynamic between Paul Giamatti and Vince Vaughn.
I'm really happy for you, Nick, by the way. I think, the whole Christmas thing's taken off, and I think that's just awesome.
You've never come up here to visit. Not even once.
I think it's partially just because they're both good actors, but you can really feel the resentment in Fred's words and the sort of hurt and confusion that comes from Paul Giamatti's line delivery. It's the sort of subtle character-based storytelling that really is reminiscent of a movie like The Holdovers. The 2023 Christmas classic where Paul Giamatti and Dominic Sessa find that two people with entirely different lives and worldviews can come together over something as simple as caring for each other. Which is actually kind of a lot like the moral of Fred Claus. No, that's silly. Fred arrives at the North Pole and meets Willie the Elf, who is played by that guy. Oh my god, I recognize him. Oh, what is he in? What is he from? Willie the Elf is in love with Elizabeth Banks, who is not an elf, and they never quite explain what she is. All we know is that she's Santa's little helper.
I'm Charlene, Santa's little helper.
So, okay, so far we know a few things about the lore of this world, okay? We know that Santa and his entire family live forever. We know that he's built a gleaming city of gold in the North Pole, has an army of elves to staff it, and outside of Santa and Mrs. Claus, there's only one other person there that's maybe a human being. You gotta explain why she's there. How'd she wind up there? Is she related to Santa Claus, or is she like an Arctic explorer who got lost? Naturally, Fred has a little bit of trouble fitting in the North Pole, and he gets into a fight with the elf DJ played by Ludacris, most known for his appearance in Gabby's Fast and Furious video. And oh my god, why does he look like that, dude? Why did they make him look like that? Why did they think this was the way to do elves in this movie? I don't like this. I don't like thinking about how they made this. How they had to have Ludacris hold his head completely still and just make a bunch of faces so they could drop that onto this stunt performer's head. It sickens me, dude. Let Ludacris move. Also, no easy way to say this. I'm just gonna rip the Band-Aid off. Kevin Spacey is in this movie. Sorry, I haven't seen Fred Claus in years prior to making this video, and I totally forgot he plays the villain. They got a real-life villain to play the villain in this movie. His name is Clyde, and he's an efficiency expert that was sent to the North Pole to make sure that Santa is running the operation efficiently. And yeah, you know what? That's like an interesting enough villain for a Christmas movie, but who sent him? Was he sent by God? The Christian God who exists in this movie? Or is there some sort of like governing body of holiday mascots, sort of like Rise of the Guardians, the Owls of Ga'Hoole style? And either way, sorry, how does this middle manager guy fit into the cosmology of this world? Like, is he just a human guy that contracts with God? And if so, does God just not care about what he's doing in his personal life? Or so while Clyde is stressing Santa out, Fred is learning that he might actually be a bad guy after all, because he looks into Santa's magical viewing orb and sees Rachel Weisz considering going on a date with another man.
You have a boyfriend?
No, actually I don't.
Well, that's a good thing.
Wait, he's sort of giving like Angelina Jolie fish from Shark Tank. The all-knowing orb also shows Fred that while he's been fighting Ludacris in the North Pole, Slam has been taken to an orphanage and has started lashing out at the other kids there.
You're never getting adopted because you're mean.
And apparently that's bad enough that it puts Slam at the very top of Santa's 10 most naughty list.
You have a 10 most naughty list?
Oh, yeah.
Slam?
I don't know, man. I think it's pretty understandable he might start lashing out at the other kids. It's stressful for him. I don't know if this is the most naughty kid on earth. There are kids that have, like, killed people. But interestingly enough, Fred also feels that this is super unjust. And so he goes to Santa's list and starts stamping all of the naughty kids as nice. Which I genuinely do like as a climactic moment for his character, because it's the first time in the movie he's sticking his neck out for someone who's not him. But he is inadvertently destroying Christmas for everyone on Earth. Because when Clyde finds out that Fred did that and all these kids are now labeled as nice and need presents, he realizes Santa won't be able to make that many presents before Christmas. And therefore, he's gonna shut Santa down. And I wasn't 100% sure if that was the most solid reasoning for the villain to be doing that, but it seems like he actually just hates Christmas, because he literally hands Santa a pink slip in the most cartoonishly evil way possible.
It gives me no great pleasure to have to say this, but, well, actually, who am I kidding? This is a fantastic moment for me.
So Santa freaks out at Fred because this is all kind of Fred's fault.
You caused Christmas for the whole planet. Everybody. Lithuania. Everywhere in Africa. The whole thing.
And then Fred freaks out at Santa, and then they have a fight in the courtyard where Santa barks at Fred. And ultimately, Fred leaves the North Pole in disgrace and flies back home to Chicago.
Chicago mentioned, baby.
Where he starts to try and just work on himself and fix his life. And then there's a very confusing scene where for like 10 minutes, Fred is in a brothers support group for people with famous siblings. And there's like actual celebrity siblings in it. There's Stephen Baldwin and Frank Stallone and this guy who's Bill Clinton's brother.
My brother's Bill Clinton. I didn't want to become first brother, especially for the rest of my life.
Who is this for? This is a kid's movie about Santa. No? Were kids in 2007 just really into Bill Clinton's brother, and I just forgot about that? And it makes even less sense that they would have this scene in the movie, because literally in the meeting, Fred realizes I should have been nice to my brother.
And I was always gonna be there for my brother. And you know what? You can be too.
And he goes back to the North Pole in the next scene.
Yeah, I need to get to the North Pole right away, like tonight.
So it feels like they just had the idea for this scene and then forced it into the movie. Because Fred did not need to leave the North Pole to learn his lesson. He was already in the process of doing that. The only real reason I can think of that he would go back to Chicago at this point in the movie is so they could do this scene. It's so stupid. The whole thing reads like a Family Guy cutaway. I'm obsessed with this. So yeah, in the very next scene, Fred flies back to the North Pole on Christmas Eve, only to find that Clyde has shut the whole place down. But Fred convinces the elves to give it their best shot and try and do Christmas anyway. And now that the operation's back up and running, Fred goes to Santa to tell him that it's time to get going, but Santa hurt his back so bad in the fight with Fred that he can't move.
I can't move. I can't, Fred.
Oh my God, do you smell that? The sweet aroma of dramatic irony. Okay, screenwriting. Fred suggests that Willie drives the sleigh, but then Willie says this.
I can't do it.
There's a rule.
Oh, there's a rule? Okay, yeah, totally. No, great, that's awesome. Then what the hell was this? Willie drives the sleigh for like half the movie, but then when he needs to at the 11th hour, he's like, I'm not allowed. Oh, I can't. Oh, I'm so sorry. Don't tell anybody I drove it earlier. They'll kill me. They'll feed me to the other elves. The rules they make up in this movie are so arbitrary. Like, oh, if you're a saint, you can live forever. And only a Claus can drive the sleigh on Christmas Eve. And if you're a man in a suit, you can shut down Christmas if you speak with enough authority. Also, about the immortality thing, if Santa made Mrs. Claus immortal when they got married, like what happens if they get divorced? Oh my God. Yeah, we just couldn't make it work, you know? Yeah, you know, I mean, sometimes people just drift apart, but I'm glad you're doing okay. Have you talked to her since then? Oh, no. Yeah, she turned into a pile of dust when we signed the papers. What? But they do a sort of sticking it to the man punk rock Christmas where they go around the world, they deliver presents to every kid, and Fred even makes a special stop at the orphanage to give Slam a puppy and also hide his face behind the Santa hat the whole time. Because I guess Slam can't know that Fred is Santa Claus. I don't know. Seems like Slam's kind of had a pretty rough month. You might want to include him on this extremely cool thing you're doing. Back at the North Pole, Santa defeats Kevin Spacey with the power of Christmas love. Whoa. Santa finally gives Clyde a gift that they reveal was denied to him as a kid because he was so naughty.
How could you possibly remember that?
You asked me for a Superman cape, but I didn't give you a Superman cape, did I?
And I guess that denial led to his lifelong mission to take down the North Pole. And in a surprisingly good movie moment, Santa realizes that he had been wrong to judge kids as naughty. And he gives Clyde this gift as like a symbolic act of saying he wants to change. And I gotta say, as dumb as this movie has been, that's an awesome way for the story to play out. Like, you go into this movie thinking that Fred Claus is going to be the one that has this heart of ice that gets melted by Christmas cheer. But then here we're finding out that, you know, Santa also has a lot of growing to do himself. Kind of like how in The Holdovers, the 2023 Christmas classic, Paul Hunnam, the grouchy professor from Barton School for Boys, has his cold demeanor softened by the warmth of unlikely friendship. While Angus Tully, his precocious student, also learns to stop putting up walls and embrace the uncomfortable, messy realities of an emotionally rich life. These are the same movie. The only thing that Fred Claus is missing is the powerful performance of Davine Joy Randolph. Instead of Davine Joy Randolph's tear-jerking performance, we just get a really forced, awkward love story between Willie and Charlene, Santa's little helper. They kiss. It's kind of awkward. It kind of looks weird because of the scary elf CGI. So that love story is wrapped up, and then we see Fred arrive at Rachel Weisz's house covered in soot and grime and announces that he's moving in with her.
All right, just go home.
I am home. I've given up my lease on my apartment. I'm going to be moving in here with you.
Full stop? What? This is a bananas maneuver to get your girlfriend back, my guy. You guys were broken up a day ago. Kind of makes me feel like Fred is still this like selfish, narcissistic, weird guy, and he hasn't learned his lesson at all. So forget what I said about The Holdovers, I guess. But I guess in a world where Santa and God are real, we can accept the logical leap that Rachel Weisz from The Mummy would be okay with him doing that. So the Clauses spend their first Christmas all together in centuries. Ludacris goes absolutely insane in the booth, and the movie wraps up in a beautiful Christmas bow. I gotta be honest, I did not expect this, but this movie, like, worked for me. I felt some Christmas spirit while watching this. Like, despite all of the bad choices and the stupid ideas that it made me endure.
My brother's Bill Clinton.
And you know what? Maybe finding the joy in imperfect things is what the holidays are really all about. I'm pretty sure that's a big part of The Holdovers as well, so makes you think. So thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. I really appreciate when you do that because you don't have to do that at all, and it's really nice of you. What the hell? From everybody here at Jake Inc., happy holidays, and I'll see you in the next one.